You might have seen different types of a critical path, like this or this one, but in comparison to that represented on a Gantt chart, those solutions started to look too complex. Gantt chart enables you to clearly see your project's timeline, along with its progress, priorities, and deadlines. The good news is that you can actually find a critical path on a Gantt chart instead of those cumbersome schemes. We'll demonstrate it by creating two project plans and finding their critical path. But first, we should understand what we are looking for. A critical path is a sequence of tasks that affect a project completion date. Usually, it's the longest set of interdependent activities. If some of its elements are delayed, the end date of the project will be postponed. This is why following the critical path is crucial to ensure your project is completed on time and within budget. The modern way to find a critical path involves using helpful online platforms. Not only do they neatly represent your project, but they also automate many processes. So without further ado, let's jump into GanttPRO, one of the best Gantt chart makers. In our first example, we are going to plan the development of an online store and identify a critical path on it. After quickly filling out the project's profile, we can proceed to the timeline. It's highly recommended that you make a list of main phases and activities in advance. This will help you capture all the details and organize tasks in the right sequence. The process of developing your website may contain complex and long-term tasks. GanttPRO allows using a work breakdown structure to break these tasks into smaller chunks and visualize them in a hierarchy. You can also assign tasks to responsible people from your team and enable a special field to estimate the time required to complete the task. These estimates help you identify which activities will require more workforce. Our project begins with the ideation and planning task, where the team defines objectives and maps out challenges. Next comes homepage design, crafting the visual layout and navigation structure. Finally, the development task focuses on building the interactive buttons that enable customer purchases and actions. It's also important to determine which tasks are dependent on other activities. You can do it with the drag-and-drop feature. Be attentive, since failing to set dependencies correctly makes a critical path useless. Supposing we did everything right, we can now find the critical path. In GanttPRO, there is a single button for this. Navigate to the critical path icon and click it. The chain of important tasks will be shown in red. In our example, it starts with the buttons task, goes all the way through its subtasks to development phase, and ends with testing. You can manipulate the sequence to complete the entire project faster, or stretch the timeframes to account for unexpected risks. Anyways, you should pay extra attention to the tasks on the critical path. Some project managers may know how difficult it is to identify a critical path in Excel or similar tools. Luckily, GanttPRO supports import from Excel and MS Project. If you already have a project plan in one of these apps and you struggle finding a critical path, don't waste time doing it by hand. It'll take a few minutes to import a file into GanttPRO, restore dependencies, and find what you long searched for. Just click the button and the app will do the rest for you. Register by the link in the description and forget about manual calculations. Our second example is a new home construction project. In contrast to website development, construction work often requires more approvals and additional management activities. Hence, it's a lot more time-consuming. Let's see how it will look like on a Gantt chart. The plan begins with zoning, where the team establishes land use parameters, setbacks, street access requirements, and utility availability. In the following phase, the architects create all necessary documentation. The third stage involves the lot survey, which maps out critical locations for the driveway, well, septic system, and other elements. These are only the initial steps. Next come additional steps like foundation work, framing, and so on, but let's omit them for the simplicity of the example. Since construction is an expensive undertaking, you wouldn't want to lose a dime. For this purpose, we can add a budget field to keep track of spendings. Finally, let's highlight the critical path. It appears to be no more difficult than in the previous example. It begins with the subtask dedicated to utilities, proceeds through the documentation activities, and concludes with the lot survey. As you see, with such approach, you'll always have a critical path at hand, without manual calculations and cumbersome schemes. Time to put this knowledge into practice. Check the description below for useful resources, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out in the comments.